Hi there, and welcome to Let's Slow Down, a podcast for all of you who feel tired and stressed from this overwhelming world. Here we'll have fun, inspiring conversations about living life on our own terms and explore ways to ease the pace of our modern world, because life really is good when you're relaxed enough to be present for it. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Stolting, and I welcome you to this space where I hope to inspire you to slow down, because life is too short to let it go by in a blur. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Let's Slow Down podcast. We're in the middle of our summer short series where I share short little episodes about how to make your summer slower, more relaxing, and just enjoy it more. And here we are at the end of July. It's hard to believe. And I'm going to talk to you today about summer beach reads. It's episode 125. For those of you who have been with me all along the way, thank you for joining me for so many episodes and for your loyalty and commitment to this show. If you get a minute, I would love for you to share it with a friend. Not doing a ton of promoting on social media these days. I just prefer not to be there too much. So if you could share this with someone who it might resonate with, that would mean the world to me. And of course, it's always appreciated to leave a 5-star review. So thank you. So here we are. It's the end of July. Wow. I have no idea how we got here. And I don't know. I kind of hate when the summer turns a corner and August appears because I feel like it's the beginning of the end. But we still have about a month of summer left. So let's make it count. I know I plan to still put aside a few days to just relax and hopefully get some beach time in. I hope that you can too. And one of my favorite things to do to relax during the summer season is read. I usually lean towards nonfiction, self-development type books. But this summer, I've indulged in a ton of fiction and I've loved every minute. I've discovered some new authors. And today I thought I'd share what I've been reading in case you're looking for inspiration. Sometimes we finally have the time, sit down to read, and we waste all the time looking for a new book. So I'm going to share what I've been reading, what I've been enjoying. And just a quick mention, I will link all the books in the show notes so that you can easily refer back later if any of them catch your attention. So I'm going to open with a tried and true author who I've loved for years, but had kind of forgotten about for a while. So the author is Liane Moriarty. Some of you might be familiar with Big Little Lies. I think it was on HBO. They made that book into a series with Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon. It was really good. The book was great, and so was the show. So this summer, I reread The Husband's Secret, which I thoroughly enjoyed the second time around and scared myself a little bit because apparently I have a terrible memory. I was sincerely surprised by the ending. Kind of came back to me, but not really. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first time. So it's a great book. Even if you've already read it, you might want to check it out again. There's a lot in there. Her characters are just so relatable and so interesting, and she's an amazing author. I also read one of her newer books that I hadn't read yet. It's called Here One Moment. And I enjoyed this one a lot. It was super clever. It started off with a scene, and I actually was going to read it over spring break. And then when I saw there was a scene on an airplane, I just put it away because I was going on an airplane. But nothing bad happens on the plane. It starts off with this medium who has this episode on the plane, and she is walking down the aisle, pointing to every single person and telling them what their age of death was and the way that they die. So it's interesting to see the events that come after that. And it was really clever and really entertaining, and I highly, highly recommend it. So it's called Here One Moment by the amazing Liane Moriarty. So I also discovered an author who I had never heard of. I was just looking on my Kindle on Amazon and she kept popping up. Her name is Rebecca Searle. And I read 2 of her books. They were both really entertaining. And both of them included an element of time travel. which I probably wouldn't have gravitated towards initially, but I really liked how she included that in unique and clever ways in both of her books. So the first one I read was called In 5 Years, and the second was One Italian Summer. She did a really great job in that one of just like describing all these Italian restaurants and the beautiful beaches and the scenery. I have always wanted to go to Italy, but it's even higher on my list now after reading that book. So both were very different from one another. I know sometimes authors' books kind of all feel the same, but I read these back to back, and that wasn't the case for Rebecca Searle's books at all, at least these two. And I will continue reading the rest of her novels. I think she has at least 6 books out or so. And apparently, one of them was also made into a TV series. So I'm going to check that one out. I also read another new to me author and book called Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Just finished this one the other day and I loved it. It was really entertaining. It was about two friends who are young traveling nurses and they move around the country every few months on new assignments. It goes into a whole adventure love story that one of them has in Minnesota. And it also made me want to visit Minnesota. It sounds beautiful. These girls have a beautiful friendship, and it was a lot of fun to read and just very witty, super clever. I was chuckling through this one. It was a really good read. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And finally, I am going to round out the list with two nonfiction books. The first, I mentioned on an earlier episode a few weeks ago. It's called Take Less, Do More by Glenn Van Pesky. And there are so many fantastic life lessons shared in this one. Glenn helped revolutionize backpacking by creating ultralight equipment, which allows people to take less so that they can do more in the wilderness. But the book is about how he quickly became aware that take less, do more is way more than a hiking slogan. It applies to all areas of life, as we've talked about on this show extensively. Through his book, he shares lessons he's learned to help others live full and vibrant lives characterized by purpose, meaning, and joy. And I'm pulling this right from the book. They say, in this book, you will discover transformative life lessons, which may go against the grain of popular thought, but have been proven to change lives for the better. You'll learn that often the best strategy for achieving goals comes from subtracting rather than adding. When your first instinct is generosity, the long-term dividends will be greater than if you strive to gain your own advantage. Revising the stories you tell yourself about situations will reframe your life and increase gratitude. By investing creatively in relationships, you will generate more joy in your life. And finally, this one's really important. Making friends with failure will cause you to grow and improve. I highly recommend this book. It's an easy read. I really enjoyed it. My last one for today is called Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means. I'm always looking to learn more about healthy habits and stress management. And this book is written by a doctor and it checks all the boxes. Sometimes it gets a little technical, but I kind of skimmed through those sections. And overall, there's a ton of information that can be put to use right away to incorporate better ways to support our health and well-being, which is so important and can make such an impact. There's a lot of eye-opening examples in the book, sharing stories about patients who Dr. Means has helped through her protocol. And I'm going to share a quick one now. Let me just open up my book here. She talks about a patient who she calls Lucy, and she had come in with, a lot of symptoms: fatigue, acne, GI upset, depression, insomnia, and infertility. It said that this seemed to Lucy and her doctors to be isolated issues. So Dr. Means works more holistically, and she said her varied conditions, though occurring in different parts of her body and having very different names, were more likely to be branches of the same tree. And our work was to figure out what the tree was and how to heal it. In a routine doctor's appointment, Lucy would have said that she eats and sleeps well, and the conversation about lifestyle would have been over. But we dug deeper and found the following. Her sleep wasn't actually as great as she initially thought. She had a lot of interruptions in her sleep. Her diet consisted of many refined and ultra-processed foods. movement. She was doing a lot of yoga and hiking, but these were very discreet. She wasn't doing them that often. She worked a desk job, she sat a lot, and her body composition showed minimal muscle. Stress, she lacked community in a new city and felt somewhat lonely. Toxins, her water was unfiltered, her personal care products and home care products contained several common toxins, and she drank wine several nights per week. Light, she stared at blue light all day on her computer and then late at night in the form of a TV. Dr. Means goes on, and really, this patient and so many of the others that they talk about in this book, I mean, this could be any of us. Like, these are regular people, right? But Dr. Means said that they created a plan incorporating seeing food as medicine, optimizing sleep, reducing chronic stress, protecting her microbiome, and reducing environmental toxins and maximizing sunlight during the day. And over the next 6 months, nearly every symptom melted away. It says that she hadn't simply started to feel better, more energized, and happier about herself today. She also drastically reduced her chances of developing chronic illness in the future. It's a really great book. It's kind of eye-opening how some of these seemingly little tweaks that we can make in our routines and in our diet can make such a big difference. So that was Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means. Reading is the epitome of slowing down. It invites us to pause the outside world and immerse ourselves fully in a quiet, meaningful experience. Whether it's a novel that transports us to another place or a thoughtful nonfiction book that expands our perspective, reading encourages stillness, focus, and reflection. Unlike scrolling or streaming, it requires our full presence, allowing our minds to settle and our imaginations to awaken. In a fast-paced world that demands constant attention, picking up a book is a gentle rebellion, a reminder that rest, curiosity, and depth matter. It's one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to relax, recharge, and reconnect with ourselves. And I wish you lots of moments to read and relax for the rest of your summer. Don't forget to check the show notes where I'll link all of the books mentioned today. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for this episode of our summer short series. I hope you can slow down enough this season to enjoy a summer full of simplicity and ease.